Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and or girls. Welcome to Fantasy Football Harsh Reality. I am your host, Greg Romero Wilson, and it is Friday, November 8th. Is that right? 6th, sorry, November 6th. I've lost all sense of time. Obviously, there's a very important thing going on still. We started it on Tuesday, the election, and it's still kind of working itself out, and I don't know about you. For one, I was so glad to have a football game to take my mind off of it. Jonathan Mesh, welcome to the show. Isaac, welcome to the show. You guys, it was so great to take my mind off of all this election business last night and watch that game. And if you're like me, it presented some big fantasy opportunities on the surface. And I'm speaking specifically about the running back position. I have JaMychal Hasty in one of my leagues. And, Jordan Reed, they activated him last time that he played for San Francisco. He scored like 2 touchdowns. So he looked good, but I was like, you know what? Without these wide receivers, this new quarterback, I'm like, this is a mess. This is going to be a Green Bay rout. So I pulled all those guys, played none of them, actually dropped Jordan Reed after the game because he did diddly squat. They were obviously happier to just throw to Dwelly. So maybe he'll pick up next week. I don't know. But just I decided to skip the whole thorn bush, so I dodged a couple of bullets, including playing the San Francisco defense, which I'd considered doing because their running back situation was kind of a mess. I figured they would double team. But I was like, nah, they're going to get rocked. And sure enough, they did. So hopefully you dodge those bullets too. Davante Adams seems to be an unstoppable force of touchdown nature who just keeps scoring. And, and you think teams would see it by now. You think they would see it coming and be like, hey guys, maybe we should double team Davante Adams every play. Make him, although without a Scantling, he winds up scoring 2 touchdowns too. So, Jesus, San Francisco, and a buddy of mine in my other league, he played the San Francisco defense, and I think he wound up with 2 points from like 1 sack that they got. I understand Mike Ontiveros, my cousin. You're depressed with your team and other things. I get it. It is a strange time. So I was glad to have the game, though. I was happy to watch it, especially since, one of the guys in my league, he was like, he has JaMychal Hasty in my comedians league. And he was like, should I play him? Everyone's saying to play him. And I'm like, dude, beware the Shanahanigans. And sure enough, Shanahanigans took over and decided, you know what, tonight it's going to be all Jerick McKinnon. Now, I will say this. If you have JaMychal Hasty, you should probably go. I'm holding on to him because if McKinnon is the other option, McKinnon loves to get hurt. That's like his favorite thing. So you might see JaMychal Hasty as the definitive RB1 for this team in the next 2 weeks, down the stretch, and it could be valuable. Here we go. We have our first lineup question: Allen or Murray? I guess Josh Allen? Is that which Allen are we talking about? Or Murray? Which Murray? I'm sorry, guys. My brain, I'm trying. Look, I went and got Starbucks right before this because my brain is just so fuzzy right now. It's hard for me to concentrate on anything. So, while he clarifies who he's talking about exactly, I'm assuming you mean Josh Allen, the quarterback. QBs. Jesus, I'm blanking on Murray right now. Tannehill or Roethlisberger? What? How many QBs do you have? Jesus Christ. Oh, Murray. Jesus Christ. Guys, all right, so if we're talking about Allen versus Murray, wow. Actually, thank you, Jason, for helping me out with what I could fucking, or Tannehill or Roethlisberger. Well, Roethlisberger, listen, they got the Cowboys. So Roethlisberger's probably going to have a field day, and they're actually my number 1 in the ready to rock section. Kyler Murray or Josh Allen, I don't think you can lose with either of those. I know I have tremendous brain fog, guys, from this election process. I've been sitting here trying to concentrate and nothing, and I'm bad with names already, but like for me not to be able to put Kyler Murray together, that's pretty embarrassing. I'll probably have to cut that. I'm not even going to cut it out. I'll probably just leave it in there because that's just where I'm at this week. My brain is just a mess because of the other things. I'm trying to distract myself. But of those 4, Kyler Murray has a great matchup. Josh Allen has a great matchup against Seattle. Hey, Gerard gives up on fantasy this year. You know, Gerard, I didn't want to tell you that when you showed me your lineup. I was like, hey, you got a lot of broken wheels on here, but I didn't want to tell you that because I didn't want you to give up on your team. And you were making trades that I was like, they're not win trades, they're not loss trades, they're kind of just suck trades. So your team was a little sunk, especially when you went all in on which Green Bay, fine, but you had all of the receivers. You had Marcus Valdes-Scantling, you had Lazard, you had them all, and then they all got injured. And injuries have been a big part of this season, so I get it. I totally get it. So, but honestly, I think Roethlisberger may wind up, it's going to be, I don't think you can lose in that one. Josh Allen, he has a great matchup in Seattle, but, he's been playing kind of mediocre. But Roethlisberger against the Cowboys, but that's the thing, I mean, they may go up on him early and then just run the ball with Connor and Benny Snell all afternoon. So he may not need to throw the ball that much. And then when you look at Kyler Murray, Kyler Murray has a great, he has a tougher matchup, versus Miami. Miami, you saw what that defense did last week. So Murray might be a tougher matchup, have a tougher matchup in there. So, and Tannehill, Tennessee, let's see, who's Tennessee's matchup this week? Chicago. Oh, yeah. See, that's a very tough matchup. So for me, of those four, it's Roethlisberger. I think I would play Roethlisberger or then Josh Allen, then Kyler Murray, and then Tannehill. So let's talk about who's ready to rock this week. If you got these guys, you think DJ Dallas will do work for Seattle again? I had him last week, and he went off because he was the only healthy. Can I tell you something? I had him last week, didn't play him. I decided to go with Le'Veon Bell in the revenge game, and it ended up fucking me because DJ Dallas got like 20 points. They barely handed the ball to fucking Le'Veon, and he had like 5 points, and I needed those fucking 20 points. The problem with DJ Dallas is it's a game-time decision. If he's the only guy again, yeah, but Chris Carson and Carlos Hyde, I'm starting to get in rhythm now. Can you see it? My brain's starting to work. Carlos Hyde and Chris Carson were both game-time decisions last week. So ostensibly, one or both of those could be playing. So, I think it's a far dicier dice roll with him. I actually dropped him because of that. Because I didn't think it was going to happen. You don't watch NFL? Well, this is an NFL show. We're not talking politics. We are talking NFL. Although we have discussed how the politics has absolutely fried my brain so far this week. It's been very difficult. Tammer, how are you, buddy? Good to see you, man. You should have beat me the other week. And that's the thing. It is put up or shut up time. Like, I'm in that pack that could, but I have to win out. And really, I can't do it till Nick Chubb comes back next week. So for me, I'm in the dice roll situation with my running back too. Yes, Tamara, you finally beat me this year. My internet fucking froze during the draft, and I wound up with 2 players that I didn't want, Jarvis Landry and David Johnson, and those were positions where I wanted to go with DK Metcalf and Kareem Hunt. Now, I'm stuck with David Johnson. Good to see, that's right. Tamara Katan is out there living in Spain right now because he just got married to a European girl. But getting back to the football business, Gerard, DJ Dallas, hold on to him and see what happens. Steelers, minus 14.5. Would you take it? Yes. Again, Dallas, against that Pittsburgh defense, my buddy Dustin Chafin, who I've been friends with forever, he was one of my mentors in New York and one of my close friends there, and he's a Steelers fan. And I've already congratulated him on an incredible win. And I don't even think you can call it a trap game. If they're choosing between 2 never starters, that just signed off the practice squad because unfortunately, Danucci turned out to be a piece of shit. So, all right. Hello, Tony. Welcome to the show. So, yes, and I do think the Steelers will easily cover 14.5. I think they win this 20, 25, 26 points, over 20. They're definitely going to, and that's at the top of my list. In the Ready to Rock section, all the Steelers versus the Cowboys. You can play Ebron, you can play Benny Snell. He'll probably get some runs in the second half. I mean, it's going to be, and my poor Dallas Cowboys, my poor darling Dallas Cowboys will unfortunately, it's going to be a long day. I don't even know how much of the game I'm going to be able to watch. These last ones have been so excruciating. I believe you can play all the Bucks versus New Orleans. I think this is what Tom Brady was waiting for. Now this, and people are like, other people are saying temper your expectations of Antonio Brown. I think Antonio Brown rips off at least one, if not two, big ones in this game. I mean, when you look at the fact that Godwin's going to play, Mike Evans is going to play, so what does that mean? Antonio Brown ends up getting covered by what? A linebacker? A safety? Whatever it is, guys are going to get open. Tampa Bay is going to rock. Gronk is going to probably still get a touchdown because there's not enough coverage. This is going to be a dangerous game, and I think we're really going to see the experiment come to a head this Sunday night. So I like all the Bucks, and I even like their defense. You got Drew Brees playing with a banged up shoulder. This has been a great defense. Obviously, you got to play Kamara. We're going to talk about that and yes with a but. But in Ready to Rock, all the Bucks, I think you can play in this. In the Broncos versus the Atlanta game, I think you can play a lot of their offense, very little their defense. Locke, Fant, I think you can play the RBs, all the Broncos versus Atlanta. Even Jerry Jeudy's been looking good. He looked pretty good last week. And that guy Tim Patrick, I mean, he's one of those guys that either shows up or doesn't. He's obviously a dice roll, but still, I think you can play him. On a side note, I saw you at the Ontario Improv. Wait, what was this? And you made me unbutton my top button, and I never buttoned it since. And listen, I realize that Tom Brady is a Trump-loving mouth kisser. I totally agree with this, but this is a football show. And I don't have to agree with him about politics. I do an MMA roasted show where we have on guys that are Trumpers that I absolutely, disagree with them on that, but that's them, and this is about that. And so I get that, but, as someone who's playing Tom Brady and needs him to get 40 points this weekend, you know what? I'm gonna be able to compartmentalize. Thank you. Compartmentalize the politics and the sports and leave that over there and focus on the sports. Got to pick up a QB this week. Best options are Breeze or Carr. I'm thinking Carr. And you know what? I like Carr in that equation too. I think Breeze is going to struggle, but he might have Michael Thomas back. So if I were you, I would wait and see if Michael Thomas plays. And if they say he's going to play, and we should know by later today if he is out or in, because last week he practiced on a limited basis, and then on Friday they pulled him. So we should know later today whether or not he intends to play, and if he intends to play, that changes the game. Michael Thomas was the offensive player of the year last year. Okay, so Breeze then would be the choice, but Carr does have a better matchup. And let me open this. Oh, here we go. Carr has a very offensive-friendly matchup versus the Chargers, which the guy that I really like in that is Josh Jacobs. So we'll get to that in a minute. Could be a big swing. I need to go on a win streak, and I need Michael Thomas to actually to do it, to play right and get it done. Were you there when Hooker Law was screened? That is actually okay. I don't think I was there when Hector, but I've gotten into, I don't know if you saw my debate with Hector Lombard. We got into a very, I mean, it was, once I settled him down into a speaking conversation tone, and I'll tell you, we found that we were in favor of a lot of the same concepts. We just disagreed on who was the person to carry those out. Which I think is a lot of America. You're just convinced one side's cheating. Anyways, I don't want to get too good. So, John Morgan, how are you, buddy? Good to see you. Welcome to the show. Skippy Collins, what's going on? Okay, so, but then the Broncos, I like almost all the Broncos. And I even like their defense. I like the Broncos defense because Atlanta's been, they've kind of been sucking. And Todd Gurley, he has flashes, but that Broncos defense, they're better against the run than they are against the pass. So if you're going to play Atlanta, you might go ahead and play. But they're yes with a butt. Matt Ryan is yes with a butt. Everyone in Seahawks versus the Bills except for the defense and the tight ends. So you know what that means. The running backs, whichever running backs plays, go ahead and play them because they're going to run the ball. You know that. And, of course, the receiving cores, Russell Wilson, they're going to go off. They're going to have a great game. That Bills defense is not the defense it was last year. And for the Bills, obviously, the same is true about the Seahawks. Their defense is fucking trash. So, I mean, for the Bills, Stephon Diggs, obviously, Josh Allen, you want to play him. And Moss and Singletary, I mean, you're kind of in the same boat, in terms of who's going to carry the ball. Moss and Singletary, last year's Moss seems to have taken over, but Singletary's healthy and he's still going to get touches, so he may be the between the 20s guy, and Moss may be the guy with fewer touches and more touchdowns, but I think both of them will have a pretty good day against Seattle either way. Too early to say that Tua is the guy. Wait, really quickly, let me, yes, I mean, I don't think it's... Is it too early to say he's the guy? No, because he is the guy. They've committed to him for this season. So you can say that he's the guy. Is he the franchise? Is he the franchise quarterback? He's the guy, but is he the franchise? That's too early to say. But again, keep in mind, Tua, when you look at the other guys drafted around Tua, Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow, it seems like Tua should... be in line to be one of those guys too. So, and I think this week in this matchup versus the Cardinals, I think we're going to see a little bit more from Tua. Obviously, and that's what's so funny, the way everyone was just throwing him away last week. He didn't have to do anything. The defense did everything. And then he did throw a touchdown. So, you know what? To all the doubters, fuck you. Because we just don't know yet. And I still think, I think we'll see a lot more this week. Singletary or Slayton. I would go Singletary on that one. And the reason I would say Singletary is because the matchup is good against the Seahawks, whereas... Slayton has a very difficult matchup against Washington. I think Washington defense is going to absolutely have a field day with this shitty Giants team. So for me, that's a Singletary. But again, always go with your gut. What was it? I miss you too, John Morgan. You're a great guy. Here you talk shit about my garbage ass about your please, John. You did considering the fact that you weren't sure if you're going to have Aaron Jones, but once they said Aaron Jones was going to play, I was like, it's going to be a wipeout. This is going to be a landslide. See, I can't get the other stuff out of my brain. I knew it, and sure enough, they went out there and they got it done. So, I feel sorry for Jamal Williams. Guy can't stay on there. Let's see here. Yet to see your debate. It's in my watch later, though. Adam be quoting too much Tucker Carlson for my liking. Adam, he doesn't, I don't know. I'll catch up with you after January 21st. Sounds good. Yeah, exactly. You're right. John Morgan is talking about Green Bay here, and he says that he played a college JV team. And you're right. I mean, they weren't. I mean, it wasn't the San Francisco. I mean, they showed you before the game that every single person was. None of them were on their championship team from last year. So right there, you knew this was going to be. They were driving into a brick wall. It was quite obvious. Oh, thank you, my man. Right here he says, but dude, you're awesome for stepping up and speaking your mind on Roasted. Thank you very much. Obviously, the Trumpers, they're very loud. And I'm very loud. I'm very loud. So when I'm the one that has to be the fucking, the flatline, boy, I'll tell you, that tells you something. But listen, we all spoke our minds. And I like to think that on MMA Roasted, we really did keep an open mind towards everybody's sides and try to be respectful of everybody and expect them to be respectful of us too. And I think that we really did accomplish that this year on MMA Roasted. So thank you. Which QB would you allow your daughter to date, and which QB would you not? That's pretty easy. Obviously, I'm going to allow my daughter to date Mahomes, and I would not allow her to date Joe Burrow. I don't know what the fuck I know that. You know, can I tell you, I love what you're saying there. She says he low key, he watches out. You know what? My wife and I always say that he's low key. Like, he tries to put out that he's very liberal, loves everything, but low key, he is a Republican. Like, in his heart, he says a lot of very Republican things. You're right, and it's funny that you picked up on it, because my wife and I often talk about that. We're always like, he really, in his heart, he's a little bit on that side. But God bless him. To everybody their own. Manny, yes, I saw your request to join. Your request was denied. Letter date, Big Dick Nick. Oh, listen, that's the Big Dick Nick Foles. Listen, good thing he got that dick, because he ain't gotten an arm. Let's see. If we're talking, anyway, I'll see. You know who looks like he has a big dick? Teddy Bridgewater. That's why he broke it. He bought it. Okay, let's keep going with this stuff. Who else is ready? So Diggs is going to be the defense. Okay, so in the Ravens versus Colts games, I think both defenses are going to have great days because both offenses aren't that great. So on the offensive side of the ball, you're going to have a lot of yes with the but on the defense, you want to start those defenses. They should have a good one. Yes, you're denied. I'm not putting on the show primarily because the audio doesn't go into the podcast, the audio podcast that goes out to Apple Podcasts and Google Play, and otherwise it would only play right here on the one feed. So that's why I can't actually plug you in, man. But we could do a Zoom interview at some point. We'll do a Zoom talk. Let's keep this going. All the Chiefs versus the Panthers, with the exception of Bell. Don't start Bell. Yes, play Mecole Hardman. I told you to play Mecole Hardman last week, and he gave you 19 points. I'm telling you to play him again. Even though the Panthers, they're definitely better against the pass than they are the run. But I don't think Bell is going to... he's just not getting a lot of opportunity yet. Even though it was basically 50-50 with him and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I don't think it's enough for him to generate any kind of really fantasy relevance yet. You know, injuries have been a big part of this year, and don't be surprised if he finds himself with a real opportunity later. Lions and Vikings, so much of this game depends on whether or not Stafford's playing, because if Stafford's not playing, then you got to play the Minnesota defense. But if Stafford is playing, then you could definitely play Hawkinson and Marvin Jones. Those guys are locked and loaded if Stafford plays. And unfortunately, we're not going to know if Stafford plays until the morning of the game. He has to pass a final COVID test that morning. If he passes, he jumps on a private plane and flies to Minnesota. Luckily, it's all up there close to each other, so it's probably like a 45-minute flight, but he flies to Minnesota and plays the game. So a lot of that relies on whether or not Stafford plays. And then, I like Cousins in this one because the Lions' defense is pretty porous. I like Cousins. I like the wide receivers. And obviously, Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook, he's the matchup of the week. Again, he has another shitty defense that he's going to be able to just slice and dice right through. I mean, look what he did at Green Bay. Although, listen, they let McKinnon run through him too, and they didn't have any fucking wide receivers. So clearly, Green Bay can't stop anybody for the run. But again, that's why people played JaMychal Hasty, because they gave up the number one most fantasy points to a position. But then Shanahanigans, it's literally, and I was discussing with someone else, it's literally like Mike Shanahan watches fantasy football shows and does the exact opposite of whatever they say is going to happen. That's what he does. He gets on there, and he's like, oh, you think I'm going to do that? Start McKinnon. Oh, my God. Definitely start the Titans' defense versus the Bears. That offense is stuck in the mud. So... Also, you can play the ready to rock. You want the best. You got the best. That Washington defense, I think, is going to have a field day. And I think you can also confidently, ready to rock Antonio Gibson, McLaurin, and Logan Thomas, their tight end. I think they're going to have a great day. Ready to rock against that shitty Giants defense. Also, ready to rock Herbert versus the Raiders, the Chargers and the Raiders. Listen, Herbert should absolutely rock. Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and I think even Hunter Henry. I think he's going to be airing it out all day. And then on the, I do like Derek Carr against this not that great Chargers defense. But I really like Josh Jacobs and Darren Waller. I think Josh Jacobs has a hell of a day. Unfortunately, I'm playing against him in my Comedians League. I found myself picking up on a lot of guys that unfortunately I'm playing against in the game that I absolutely have to win. I really put my chips in on this Tampa Bay team because I'm playing literally in the Comedians League. I'm playing Tom Brady, Chris Godwin, and Antonio Brown. And I traded, okay, you guys are going to think I'm an idiot for this, and I realize on paper this is bad, but I traded Zeke Elliott for Antonio Brown. And the reason being is, with as banged up as they are wide receiver there, Antonio Brown is fresh, he's electric, he's going to come out, and I think he's going to be an absolute baller down the stretch. Whereas Zeke, big name, but he's put up zilch, and there's no quarterback coming. Dak ain't coming back. Dalton, but Dalton sucked too. So Zeke, I think, is stuck in fucking running back purgatory, and so considering the two positions, I needed to make a move to do something explosive to save my season, and so that was the move. So I've got a lot of shares in that Tampa Bay passing game, and if they run it all day, I'm going to lose my mind. Yes, with the but. Kamara, Michael Thomas, these guys versus the Bucs. I mean, obviously you're going to play them, but temper your expectations because the Buccaneers is a great fucking defense, and Drew Brees is banged up. Also, Latavius Murray, I think, again, the only way they win this game is by controlling the ball, which means you're going to have to use Latavius more than normal. I think Latavius has a great opportunity to be involved there, especially with him being a little banged up in the foot. He acted like it was a stub toe, but excuse me, toe injuries have halted a lot of seasons for a lot of position players. So I think Latavius gets some run here. Wow, that's a freezing hot take. Zeke sucks nowadays. AB is literally so unpredictable, the risk highly outweighs the reward ceiling, in my opinion. Well, that is your opinion, and you're welcome to it. But, we'll all march into this together and we're all going to find out at the same time. And that's the thing is, I had to make a move and gamble my season. Either he comes out, I mean, when you have Bruce Arians saying he looks fantastic, that's all I need to know. Chase Edmonds, again, he's on the yes but. I think he's coming up. He's on yes but. Here he is. Kyler Murray, Edmonds, Hopkins, all of them are yes. Yes, play them. Absolutely. But they're going against the Miami defense. That was pretty fucking amazing last week, and so this defense is playing great. So I mean, again, you have to play them. Edmonds looks tremendous. You have to play him, but this Miami defense they ain't gonna let him have nothing for free. I'll tell you that right now. The offense for the Ravens versus the Colts. The Colts defense is looking fantastic. And so, I mean, yes, you're going to play Lamar. Yes, you're going to play Mark Andrews. I think those are the only playable ones. I think, we're going to talk about the guys that are don't touch it as pure evil, and those running backs are in that list. James Robinson. Okay. Everyone's all, James Robinson. Listen, I had James Robinson. He's very, very just okay. And now, guess who his fucking quarterback is? Some dude named Luton. Or Luton. I don't know. Never heard of him. Never seen him. He's the starting QB. Now, again, you should be able to start the Texans defense with confidence. But they COVIDed out like 3 of their starting defensive players. So while it should be, Texans defense scoring 26 points tomorrow against this, I mean, obviously they're going to stack the box, shut down James Robinson, and let that guy throw interceptions. That's what's supposed to happen. I don't know what to tell you there. Sorry, there's comment about Antifa in here, and whatever. We're back to fantasy football. So that's the thing. So I don't like the offense there, but obviously you're going to play Lamar. I'm playing Mark Andrews, but the Colts defense is pretty fucking good. Don't play Marquise Hollywood Brown. He's up against Xavier Rhodes. He ain't going to get shit. Ralph Guerra. Good to see you, buddy. Can I tell you, yesterday I had an in-person callback for a commercial, and Dwayne Perkins was there too, and we hugged for an inordinate amount of time, but it was like we hadn't seen each other in years, and like we'd both been at war in different things. And they're like, "Oh my God, you're alive!" Like it's something I can't wait to see all you guys in the very near future. Jonathan Taylor or Lev Bell? Wow, woof. I'm going to say Lev Bell just because he has a better matchup. Jonathan Taylor, first of all, I don't know how many touches he gets. They clearly like Wilkins now. And then, of course, up against the Ravens. So they're up against I think they're the number one defense against the run. So Jonathan Taylor, I think, is a very bad move. I think Lev Bell has slightly better chance to, because that game the Chiefs game should probably be a blowout, that Lev Bell may get. But I said that last week, and he got very little opportunity against but against the Panthers, they should dominate pretty early and have the chance to run the ball out. So I like Lev Bell versus Jonathan Taylor, but go with your gut on that one. Go with your gut. That's a tough one. Dwayne Perkins is one of the funniest comics and first comics that you met when you moved. Dwayne Perkins isn't just one of the funniest. He is one of the funniest comics, but not just that. He's one of the best people that you could ever be around. A great guy. We wrote a script together, 2 of them actually, and he's just, I just love him to death. And if you're not familiar with his comedy, please watch his special Take Note, which was on Netflix for a while, but I think it may have moved to Stars. I watched it twice myself. I love the special. The guy's a genius. Yes for the butt. Henry versus the Bears. I mean, Derrick Henry, obviously, I love him. I have him. But the Bears defense is number 1, so just expect less. CMC, again, you want him to come back and be the guy. He may be on a pitch count. We don't really know. And it's going against Kansas City, which is, again, one of the tougher run defenses, one of the best defenses in the league. So it's yes with a but. The Detroit RBs, even though they have a great matchup with Minnesota, DeAndre Swift has looked really fucking not swift to the bench. That's what and Adrian Peterson's been getting touches. So you carve that up any way you want to. I would personally, if you can stay away from him, just stay away because you don't know who's going to do what. Aguilar and Ruggs versus the Chargers. Yes with a but. You should play him, but don't expect too much. Chargers RBs. Again, if you have one of the Chargers RBs, go with God. You are on your fucking own with that shit. Now they throw in that Pope guy. So I know Justin Jackson's supposed to be the main guy, but then you have Josh Kelly and Pope, and it's gotten very confusing over there. Again, go with God if you plan to play one of those Chargers. Vegas, they give up the 5th most points, so I can see where you want. That's why I'd say yes, but. Mike Davis, again, we don't know. He's a yes, but too, because if CMC is in any kind of a pitch count, well, that's still going to open the door for Mike Davis to come through. But I don't think he's going to. I don't think he'll see enough volume to be fantasy relevant. I think all the good plays are going to go to CMC, and I think the ones where they're most likely going to, where they maybe are going to pass the ball, those are going to be the ones that are going to bring in Mike Davis. So I wouldn't. People are dropping him. I wouldn't drop him. CMC. He's been injured. Maybe he gets who knows? So again, they're both a yes with a but. Patriots and Jets defenses. I like the Jets defense. I do. I think the Patriots offense has been really crappy. So both these defenses, I think, are yes. But Cam, I think he's a yes with a button. Damian Harris, I think you could start it. Jets they're not that great a defense, but this is a divisional game. And if they're gonna, some people think this is the game that the Jets finally get one on the Patriots. And if that were to happen, that only happens one way, and that's if that defense shuts them down, which they are every bit capable of doing. Don't touch it. It's pure evil. Which is, of course, from the movie Time Bandits. But guys, the Colts tight ends, they're using all of them. They're using Trey Burton. They're using Mo Alley Cox. They're using Jack Doyle. If you want to figure out which one of those is going to be the guy with the touchdown this week, God bless you. Go on with your bad self. Oh, shit. I have to do a self-tape for a show called Go On With Your Bad Self. Okay. Colts tight end, and the RBs, that's another situation. I picked up just Jordan Wilkins because he seems to be taking over that position, but they used them all. They used Jonathan Taylor, they used Wilkins, they used Naheem Hines. He's the passing option. The only one that seems safe really is kind of Naheem Hines. But the reason he's available is because some games they don't ever throw to him. So let's see. And so the Denver's and the Ravens RBs and wide receivers. Again, you have these committee mixes. Oh, this just came up on Bleacher Report. Michael Thomas set to return. Yes! So that changes things a little bit in that, again, the Bucs defense, you have a hurt shoulder, but Breeze becomes a better option now because Michael Thomas is going to be out there, and I believe Emmanuel Sanders is also going to be out there. He is out of COVID protocol, so things just got very interesting, which is also great because if they score, then they have to keep passing the ball on the other side for the Buccaneers, which is great for me. So a lot of good things are happening. Plus, I'm also playing Michael Thomas. In my Comedians League, I'm playing Michael Thomas, Antonio Brown, and Chris Godwin as my receivers. I put it all on the receivers. They got to carry me home. Everyone don't play anyone. They're pure evil. Everybody that's not named Derrick Henry versus Chicago on the Tennessee Titans side of the ball. And for Chicago, don't play any of the Chicago offense. Which, I mean, David Montgomery, if you're still playing him, go with God. But versus Tennessee, they're not going to do much. That's a Tennessee play. Giants, don't touch anybody on the Giants offense versus Washington. I think Washington's going to squash them. It's too soon to play Tua. Just don't do it. We don't know what we're getting. You don't know what's in there. It's mystery. Like, it's just reaching into a box like, is there anything in there? It could be confetti. Could be a diamond. Could be confetti. Don't touch it. It's pure evil. Jets. Just the whole offense. Don't fucking touch them. And the Patriots running backs. Although, I mean, Damian Harris, you probably can play, but all the rest of them I wouldn't touch. Rex, James White, all those guys, fucking let them go. Yes, Jonathan Mesh just joined in as well. He said Michael Thomas is active. And listen, that I've been waiting. Fuck! I picked him up in in my Comedians League. Okay, we got a good question here. Godwin or Ridley? Listen, I'm going to say Ridley, and I'll tell you why. One, it's a pretty decent matchup, and two, the thing about Godwin, that finger thing, I have a feeling, again, this is why I'm playing Antonio Brown, because I have a feeling they're going to have him out there mostly as a decoy. I think that they're going to, just to take up some coverage and free up Antonio Brown, because they don't want him to bang up that finger any bit more. So I think if he's wide open and he's in the end zone, they're going to throw the fucking ball to him. But I think short of that, I don't know how much Godwin's actually going to see with Antonio Brown on the field and Mike Evans. So for me, that's Ridley. But again, go with your gut. You're responsible for your own choices. Should the Jets be moved to the XFL? They should be moved to Division I NCAA football. And even then, they probably wouldn't be that competitive. If you're going to roll the dice, it's going to be with the Miami Dolphins versus that Cardinals defense. Gesicki and Preston Williams and Devontae Adams. You're not sure who's going to really... I think Tua is going to have to throw the ball a little bit more this week versus that high-powered Arizona offense, who will undoubtedly find a way to score. So I think they're going to have to do a little bit more this week. So I think you can roll the dice. For me, I like Gesicki. But Gesicki, Preston Williams, Devontae Adams, you can roll the dice. One of those guys is going to score a touchdown. Let's see here. McKissick or Sterling Shepard in the flex? Probably McKissick. Again, I'm staying away from the Giants in that game going up against Washington. I think the Washington defense is much better than the Giants offense. I'm worried about every player on the Giants side of the ball. McKissick, though... obviously I think it's going to be Antonio Gibson's day, but Gibson's been getting some work. So I would lean towards McKissick. Especially since with the Giants receivers, it seems like Danny Daniels, whatever, has more chemistry with Golden Tate and Slayton than he does with Shepard. Shepard seems to be kind of the odd man out lately. So, or Miller. Is that Anthony Miller from Chicago? Or Scotty Miller? Listen, if there's an odd man out, to me it would seem like Scotty Miller. But this is also the kind of game, and I said this last week, Scotty Miller should have had high volume, right? And then he didn't. He didn't do shit when all they had was Mike Evans. Now they have all these guys, and you watch, this will be the game that Scotty Miller takes the go route and hits one giant one down the field. So... even though it seems like he shouldn't even take the field, watch this be the kind of game where Scotty Miller comes out of nowhere and scores 2 touchdowns. because they got to cover all those other dudes. But Scotty Miller, for me, is a deep dice roll. A deep dice roll, but it may wind up being the best one of those three. So for me, I think it would go McKissick, Scotty Miller, Sterling Shepard, which of course means in reality, it'll go Sterling Shepard, Scotty Miller, McKissick. So listen, go with your gut. Do whatever your gut says to do, whoever you believe. Which RB is pounding the rock for Seattle this weekend? Well, and that is the big, that's the $1 million question. Because both Carlos Hyde and Chris Carson are listed as questionable. And they were game time decisions last week. So you would think that one of them would be a go for, if not both of them, a go for this week. And then if they aren't, I mean, you have to decide whether or not to quickly grab DJ Dallas or if you kept him, if you held on to him. I didn't hold on to him. I let him go because I didn't see it going his way this week. But I made a lot of mistakes this week. I make too many moves. All of them on the waiver wire. I'm not one of those guys like Jonathan Gregory who just makes trades he just loves to trade. That's his favorite thing. His team, 3 weeks apart, looks nothing like it did 3 weeks previous. Now that Oregon has legalized all drugs, does Todd Marinovich wish he could go back and play QB for the Ducks? I'll tell you what, I bet, what was his name? The running back, Ricky Williams. I bet Ricky Williams wishes he could go back and play. And play in Seattle where weed's legal or in Denver. So, what is the Mike Davis expiration date? Well, people said it was last week. So we'll see. I mean, again, they still haven't activated him. They keep saying they're going to, but they still haven't. So it could be this week. It could be next week. I don't know. I'm trying to pick him up because I have McCaffrey, and whoever had him in our league dropped him. So I'm trying to grab him so I can have that handcuff in the event that we face this situation again going forward, because these things can be weird. Although he waited so long, it should be fine. If you remember last year, what's his name for the Giants? Saquon had the high ankle sprain, came back after 3 weeks, and basically stunk for the next 6 weeks. And it wasn't until around week 9 or 10 that he started to look like himself again because that thing finally healed. So for me, I'm pretty sure McCaffrey should be very healed up and ready to rock in this contest. So maybe Mike Davis is dead, but I would hold on to him. Unless you need the bench space and then you let him go. That's it, guys. Fantasy football, hush, reality. My brain's fried. Let's hope we have a new president by sometime this weekend. That would be nice, wouldn't it? All right. Take care, guys. That's the show.